You will be careful before you hire any maid after watching this story. The Okoros were the kind of family everyone thought had it all together. 2 parents with good jobs, a big house in the city, 2 smart children, and a life that looked perfect on the outside. But behind the walls of that house, something was growing, something quiet, hidden, and dangerous. It all started the day they brought in a maid named Loveth. She was 22, pretty, calm, and polite. Her voice was soft, and she always smiled. She had come through a trusted woman that Mrs. Okoro met in a women's WhatsApp group. Mrs. Okoro was a senior nurse, always on her feet. Long shifts, night calls. Mr. Okoro was a branch manager at a bank. Early mornings, late evenings, lots of pressure. They needed help at home. We just need someone to cook, clean, and be around when the children returned from school, Mrs. Okoro said. Loveth came with no complaints. In her first week she cooked well. She swept, she mopped, she helped with laundry. The house felt easier to manage. But something strange began to change. Junior, their 14-year-old son, became quiet. He stopped spending time in the living room. He would lock himself in his room after school. He didn't laugh at his sister's jokes anymore. He avoided eye contact with Loveth. And sometimes, when Loveth thought no one was watching, her eyes would follow Junior, in a way no one else noticed. Nobody saw the warning signs. Mr. and Mrs. Okoro were too busy trying to keep up with bills, deadlines, and meetings. But Junior was living with a fear he couldn't speak about. Until one night, Mrs. Okoro came home late and walked past the sitting room, and what she saw made her freeze. She saw Loveth standing too close to Junior in the living room. The lights were dim. Nothing was clearly wrong, but something about the way Junior jumped up when she walked in made her pause. Loveth greeted her, smiling like always. Junior just mumbled, "Good evening, Mum," and rushed to his room. Mrs. Okoro sighed. She was too tired to think. She had just finished a 12-hour hospital shift and still had reports to submit before midnight. She barely had the strength to eat, let alone start asking questions. That night she told her husband, "Junior is acting different. Maybe it's just teenage stuff." Mr. Okoro grunted. "Maybe. You know how boys are at that age." But it wasn't just teenage stuff. Something deeper was going on. 2 weeks earlier, Loveth sat alone in the maid's room, scrolling through her phone. There was a message from her younger sister. "Auntie said you should not forget the rent. The landlord is angry again." Loveth didn't reply. Her hands shook slightly as she put down the phone. She looked at the mirror. Her eyes were tired. People always called her pretty, but no one ever asked her what she'd been through. Loveth had grown up in a small flat with 4 siblings. Her mother was never home. She worked as a cleaner during the day and sold roasted corn at night. Her stepfather, may God punish him, started touching her when she was only 13. She had tried to speak once, but her mother slapped her and said, "He feeds us." Don't lie. So Loveth learned how to keep quiet. Nobody taught her what was healthy love, what boundaries looked like. She ran away at 16. From house to house, she found work. A nanny, a cleaner, a kitchen assistant. But no job ever lasted. The men in those houses always tried things. The women always blamed her. Now at 22, Loveth believed affection came through touch, even if it was unwanted. Even if it was from a child. She is now in the Okoro house, and for the first time, no man had touched her. But Junior, he reminded her of herself at 14, quiet, unsure, alone. She didn't want to hurt him. She told herself that. But something inside her was broken. And broken things, when left alone, don't always know how to stop bleeding onto others. One morning, Junior sat at the dining table, staring at his cereal. Emma, his 12-year-old sister, was talking excitedly about her school play, but he wasn't listening. Loveth walked past and gently touched his shoulder as she served tea. He flinched. Amma noticed. "Why are you always shaking when she touches you?" she asked, half joking. Junior forced a laugh. "I'm not. I'm just cold." Loveth didn't say a word. She walked away. Later that day, Junior tried to tell his father something. "Dad, can I talk to you?" But Mr. Okoro was typing on his laptop, eyes fixed on the screen. "Junior, I'm in the middle of something important. Can it wait?" Junior nodded slowly. "Yeah, it can wait." He walked back to his room and locked the door. That night after midnight, Junior had a nightmare and woke up sweating. He went to the kitchen to get water. As he opened the fridge, Loveth appeared. She wasn't wearing her usual long dress, just a tank top and short wrapper. He froze. She smiled gently. "You can't sleep?" she asked.
He looked down.
"Just thirsty." She stepped closer. "You're a big boy now. So quiet, so handsome." Junior didn't reply. She reached out, touched his arm lightly, and he dropped the cup. Glass shattered on the floor. The noise woke Mr. Okoro upstairs. "Junior!" he shouted. "What happened?" Loveth quickly stepped back. Junior bent down, heart racing. "Nothing." "The cup slipped," he called back. His voice was shaking. Loveth slowly turned and walked away without another word. Junior stayed on the floor, holding the broken pieces in his hand. Not crying, not speaking, just breathing, alone. The next day, Junior came back from school early. His teacher had dismissed his class after a pipe burst in the building. The house was quiet. His parents were at work. Amma wasn't home yet. He dropped his bag, went to the kitchen, and opened the fridge. Then he heard her, "Junior." He turned. Loveth was standing by the hallway, wearing one of Mrs. Okoro's fitted tops and tight jeans. She smiled, but there was something in her eyes he didn't understand. "I cooked your favorite," she said, walking closer. "Fried rice. With that sweet pepper you like." He nodded, unsure, and took the plate. He tried to walk past her, but she blocked him gently. "Say thank you." He looked down and mumbled, "Thanks." She leaned in and kissed his cheek. Junior froze. Loveth smiled again and whispered, "You don't have to be afraid of me. I care about you." He walked away fast. His hands shook the entire time he was eating. The food tasted bitter in his mouth. That night, in his sleep, Junior dreamed Loveth was in his room, touching him. He woke up gasping and realized it wasn't a dream. Loveth was actually there, sitting on the edge of his bed. He sat up, terrified. "What are you doing here?" "Shh," she said softly. "I heard you cry in your sleep. You're lonely. I know that pain. Please go," he whispered, almost crying. "Please." Loveth placed a hand on his leg. "You're not a child anymore, Junior. You don't have to be scared." Just then there was a knock on the front door, loud, sharp, urgent. Loveth jumped. Junior used the moment to pull away and grab his blanket. The knock came again. Loveth hissed, annoyed. "Who's at the door by this time?" She rushed out. Junior locked his door. He didn't sleep again that night. At the door, it was Mrs. Amina, their neighbor. She had come to ask if Mrs. Okoro had painkillers. Her husband had twisted his ankle and was groaning in pain. Loveth gave her the drugs and went back inside. But she didn't know that Mrs. Amina had seen something strange. From where she stood by the door, she could see through the window that Loveth was coming out of Junior's room, not the maid's quarters, and something about that didn't sit right with her. 2 days later, Junior's grades dropped suddenly. He submitted blank homework. His teacher called the house. Mr. Okoro yelled at him that night. "Are you losing your mind? You want to throw your future away?" Junior said nothing. He wanted to scream, to tell them everything, but the words just didn't come. He looked at his mother's tired eyes, his father's angry face, and he swallowed it all down again. Later that week, Loveth started deleting her messages before leaving her phone lying around. She had started texting Junior from a small second phone she kept hidden. "You're not a baby. Stop pretending like you don't feel anything. If I leave this house, I'll tell everyone you came to me." Junior began sleeping at odd hours. He avoided everyone. He barely ate. Even Amma noticed. "Mommy, Junior is acting like a ghost." Mrs. Okoro finally said, "Something is wrong with this boy." But neither of them had time to sit and find out. That Friday, Loveth wore makeup. She had never done that in the house before. Mrs. Okoro raised a brow. "Where are you going?" Loveth smiled. "To the market. Just felt like dressing up a bit." Mrs. Okoro nodded, distracted. She was packing for an overnight hospital trip. She turned to Junior. "Take care of your sister. Don't stay up too late." Junior looked at his mother. He wanted to say, "Don't leave me alone." He wanted to scream, "Please don't go." But instead he said, "Okay." That night, after Amma went to bed, Loveth knocked on Junior's door again. Junior lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He could hear Amma snoring gently in the next room. The clock ticked slowly. 10:39 p.m. Then the knock. Soft, 3 gentle taps. He held his breath. She knocked again. "Junior," Loveth whispered, "open the door." He shut his eyes tight, praying she would go away. The door handle rattled. It was locked. She knocked again, more firmly now. "I just want to talk. I promise," she said in a low voice. But Junior didn't move. After a long pause, silence. She was gone. He didn't sleep. He just lay there, his body stiff, his heart beating in his throat. The next morning, Loveth acted like nothing happened. She made breakfast, helped Amma pack her school bag, and even joked with the security guard at the gate. Junior watched her like a stranger. She looked normal. Too normal. But inside her, something was broken. Uma said something strange at the breakfast table. "Loveth said I should go and sleep in her room tonight so she can be close to me. But I said no." Mrs. Okoro chuckled. "Maybe she's lonely. That girl barely talks to anyone." Junior flinched. He wanted to speak. He almost opened his mouth. But Loveth appeared in the doorway carrying a tray. She caught his eye and smiled sweetly. His voice died in his throat. At school, Junior sat alone during break. His best friend Tayo noticed. "Bro, what's wrong with you lately? You day act weird." Junior shook his head. "I'm fine." Tayo didn't believe him. "Did someone beat you at home?" "No." "Did you do something bad?" Junior hesitated. "No." Are you scared of someone?" That question hung in the air. Tayo didn't press further, but he watched Junior quietly from then on. The neighbor, Mrs. Amina, still couldn't shake what she saw that night. So one day, she came over with Zobo and Chin Chin for the children. She chatted with Mrs. Okoro in the kitchen and pulled her aside. "My sister," she said in a soft tone, "I know you're busy, but that maid, keep eye on her. There's something not sitting right." Mrs. Okoro frowned. "Loveth. She's quiet, always helpful." "I know, that's why it worries me. Sometimes the danger no day shout." Mrs. Okoro nodded politely, but didn't think much of it. She had an urgent report due the next day. That evening, while Loveth was bathing, her second phone buzzed on silent under her pillow. Ima, ever curious, saw the screen light up. It was a message from a saved contact, Jay. The message read, "I can't breathe anymore. If you come again, I'll tell my dad." Emma frowned. She quietly memorized the pattern Loveth used to unlock her phone earlier. Then she slid it back and said nothing. The next morning, she began to watch her big brother more closely, and she noticed the fear in his eyes, the way Junior flinched when Loveth walked into the room, the way he always tried to sit where she couldn't touch him, how he never smiled at home anymore, how his eyes darted around like he was scared of shadows that only he could see. And Loveth, she was still pretending, still calling him my baby, still brushing his back with her hands when nobody was looking, still lingering in the hallway after Junior had entered the bathroom, waiting, listening. Ima was only 12, but she wasn't stupid. She knew something was wrong. One Saturday morning, she followed her brother into his room. "Junior, are you okay?" He was tying his shoelaces. He didn't look up. "I'm fine." "No, you're not." He looked up. His eyes were red, not from crying, no, from holding too much pain inside. Amma stepped closer. "I see how you act when Loveth comes close. I see your face, Junior. What's she doing to you?" He looked away quickly. "Nothing." "Go away, Amma." But she didn't. "I'm your sister," she said, voice firm. "You can tell me." "I said nothing," he snapped. "Just leave me alone." And she did. But she didn't stop watching. That night, Amma saw it with her own eyes. Junior had gone downstairs to get water. Ama was already awake, standing in the dark hallway. Loveth came from the back. She tiptoed in behind Junior and stood too close. Too close. She whispered something into his ear and reached for his waist. Ama's heart nearly stopped. Junior jerked away and dropped the glass, which shattered on the floor. Loveth hissed under her breath, "Clean that up before your mummy hears." "Don't forget what I told you, Junior." He knelt, hands shaking. Ama's breath caught in her throat. Loveth didn't know Amma was watching. Ama waited until the next morning. She cornered Junior when they were alone on the balcony. "I saw her, Junior, last night. In the kitchen." He froze. "She touched you. You didn't want her to. I saw it." Tears filled his eyes. Amma didn't wait. She pulled out her Android phone and opened the voice recorder. "We need to catch her. We can't wait for Mummy and Daddy to notice. What if she lies?" Junior whispered. "We'll get proof." That was the first time Junior nodded in agreement. Over the next few days, Amma left her phone in different parts of the house. Sometimes in Junior's room, sometimes in the corridor. It wasn't easy. Loveth was always alert, but one day it worked. The audio was faint but clear enough. "Loveth, don't run away from me. I told you, nobody will believe you." "Junior, please stop. I didn't do anything." "Loveth, shh, don't cry. You'll like it if you stop fighting." Emma's hand shook as she replayed it. It was no longer a suspicion. This was real. Who could they tell? Amma and Junior were scared. They didn't want to go to their parents. Daddy was always busy with meetings and phone calls. Mummy barely looked up from her laptop most evenings. And what if they didn't believe them? Loveth had charmed everyone. She had worked hard, smiled in church, sent food to neighbors. Emma decided to try someone else. The school counselor, Ms. Lara. Emma approached Ms. Lara. She told her everything, from the fear in Junior's eyes to the audio on her phone. Ms. Lara was calm. She asked to see Junior the next day. Junior was scared, but with Amma in the room, he told the truth. Everything. What Loveth did, what she said, why he never spoke out. Ms. Lara immediately contacted the school's safeguarding team and child protection services. Within 24 hours, child welfare officers visited the Okoro home. Mrs. Okoro was shocked. She tried to wave it off at first. "You must be mistaken. Loveth, our Loveth, she's just like family." But the recording, the testimony from Junior, it was undeniable. When Loveth was brought in for questioning, she cracked. She didn't deny it. Instead, she broke down and wept. "I didn't mean to hurt him," she said quietly. "I didn't know how else to feel wanted." She told them how she'd been sexually abused by a relative when she was 13, how nobody believed her, how she ran away, how she had worked as a maid in 4 different homes, none of them ever asking what her story was. "How old are you now?" the officer asked. 22, she whispered. "Still a girl in many ways, a broken one." Loveth sat in the small room at the child welfare office. Tears ran down her face, not the crocodile kind. Real ones. She looked like a girl again, scared, small, empty. "I didn't plan to hurt him," she said. "I only wanted someone to see me. I only wanted not to feel alone anymore." The policewoman nodded slowly. "Loveth, we understand you've been hurt, but hurting someone else, especially a child, is never the answer." Loveth nodded through her sobs. There was no joy in her confession. No pride, just pain. Still, pain doesn't erase the damage. That evening, Mrs. Okoro sat in silence. Her work laptop was still open, but for once the screen was black. Her eyes were fixed on the floor. Mr. Okoro stood by the window, arms folded, staring out like the answers were somewhere in the Abuja skyline. Emma sat close to Junior, holding his hand. He hadn't spoken much. He just kept his eyes on the corner of the living room, where Loveth used to sit and peel carrots, the place where it all began. The social worker had told them the full report, how it wasn't a single incident, how it had started slowly, grooming, touching, threatening, how Junior had stayed silent for 4 months. 4 whole months. His mother hadn't noticed. His father hadn't noticed. But his younger sister did. "I thought I was protecting my family," Mr. Okoro said finally. "I thought all this work, all these long hours, the money was for them." Mrs. Okoro didn't answer. Tears rolled down her cheeks, quiet and bitter. "I thought leaving the house at 5 a.m. and coming back at 10 p.m. was responsible parenting," she whispered. "I didn't even see it. My own son, my baby." Emma looked up at her mother. "You were here, Mummy, but not really here." That line stayed in the room like smoke. Junior finally spoke. "Will they take Loveth to prison?" "They might," Mr. Okoro said gently. Junior nodded. He didn't cry, not yet. But his voice cracked. "I don't want her to go to jail forever. I just want her to get help. She's sick, Daddy." That stunned everyone. A 14-year-old boy, abused and manipulated, still had room for compassion. "I just want to feel safe again." And that's when they all broke down. Loveth was taken into custody, but not straight to prison. Because of her history of trauma, She was placed into a rehabilitation program for abused youth. She would be given a chance to heal. Junior started therapy the following week. So did Amma. So did the parents. Because pain doesn't just go away. You walk through it together. 2 months later, the Okoro house was quieter. There was no maid now, no loveth, no one walking past the boys' room at night. But there was laughter again, slow, uncertain, but growing. Junior was writing more in his journal. Emma had started a school club for girls who wanted to talk about their home lives. Mr. Okoro now worked half days from home. Mrs. Okoro never took work shifts on weekends anymore. They weren't perfect, but they were present. The end. Parents, look around your home. Look past the tidy rooms and paid school fees. Look into your child's eyes. Are they speaking without words? Are they safe when you're not watching? Are they seen? Because sometimes danger doesn't break the door down. It walks in politely and says, I came to help. If this story touched your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And if you're new here, subscribe to Folktales Central, where true emotions meet unforgettable stories. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we bring hearts to life.